11 matches are happening at Double or Nothing, and we are going to make some bold predictions that we guarantee will happen next on the Squared Circle Psychobabble. My name is Michael Valenti. Joining me is Ralph Valenti. Let's get down to it, Ralph. We'll start with the buy-in match. Hookhausen versus Tony Nese and Smart Mark Sterling. This has got to go to Hookhausen, right?
Yeah, you got to think so. I mean, look, this is their debut match, I believe, as a tag team. This is Danhausen's coming out party ever since he got hurt. So this is really going to be the first look at these two after the months, I should say, probably, of build up towards this point. Smart Mark will be made to look like a fool. Hookhausen's going to win.
For those that are looking for a very serious match, don't watch the buy-in because there's going to be some comedy stuff between Mark Sterling and Danhausen. But as someone that doesn't care, as long as it's entertaining, I'm going to watch it. And I'm going to hopefully be entertained by those four there. But we'll head into the main card right now. 6-man tag action, the Death Triangle versus the House of Black. This one I think is a little tough to predict. One, because they've been on and off with this storyline, given the fact that Rey Fenix got hurt. If you want to play New Japan into this, and if they're going to be involved in Forbidden Door, House of Black, Brody King just had a big win at Capital Collision against Minoru Suzuki. Malachi Black can use a big pay-per-view win. This is Buddy Matthews' first pay-per-view match, second pay-per-view match because they were on the buy-in for Revolution, but it's first on the main card. I think House of Black takes the win here, and I don't really see, any reason to really give Death Triangle the win here unless they're going to build them up for the eventual trios tag titles that are eventually going to happen and make them favorites as the first champions.
It's weird to say because, ever since Cody has left AEW and ever since Malachi Black has feuded with him, kind of like he's been a little bit of an afterthought. And he's a guy that came in with a lot of steam. He was a guy that was having a lot of important or more prominent segments on Dynamite. It really seemed like he was going to be a focal point of the show. And it's not to say that they can't elevate him to that point, but I think they got to win this match. This will be the step in the right direction for this faction if they truly intend to do anything with Malachi Black. So I'm going to say the House of Black takes it.
We go to tag team action for the next match, and a dream match, although those that follow the Ring of Honor have already seen this, but a dream match for the national audience, and that is the Hardys versus the Young Bucks. The story has been slowly building the last couple of weeks. Basically, the Hardys are calling the Young Bucks cosplayers of the Hardys. They actually used the Hardly Boys reference of Jim Cornette calling the Young Bucks the Hardly Boys. I think this match doesn't really need much of a build considering there's so many matches on this card. I would have liked more of a build, but it's still going to be a great match nonetheless. I'm going with the Hardys here, actually.
You're going with the Hardys. Wow.
I'm going with the Hardys.
It's tough because Jeff Hardy was brought in not too long ago, and you'd think that they'd want to try and get like a return on investment out of him because honestly, who knows how much longer the Hardys are going to be wrestling.
Exactly.
If they're like the Rock and Roll Express, they'll wrestle till they're about 70. So I think we're going to see a passing of the torch moment here. I think that the Young Bucks are going to win this. I just hope that it doesn't turn into a crazy spot fest because I think that if
it will.
It doesn't have to be, though, because, I guess it comes down to what you prefer. But when they wrestle the FTR and FTR makes them wrestle within the rules of like pro wrestling, traditional pro wrestling, the match is usually pretty good. I'm sure we're going to see some crazy spots between the Bucks and Jeff Hardy and all that stuff. But I don't think they have to necessarily do a spot fest for it to be good. But I think the Bucks are taking this match.
To the Young Bucks' advantage, Rick Knox will most likely be the referee of this match because I don't think the Young Bucks have wrestled a match yet without Rick Knox as the referee. I would just love for that to actually be a storyline eventually, but they're not the only ones with personal referees. In fact, one that has a personal referee that you may have not noticed, Chris Jericho's personal referee is Aubrey Edwards. And I'm sure she'll be the referee in the arena or the Anarchy in the Arena match. The Jericho Appreciation Society will go up against the Blackpool Combat Club, Eddie Kingston, and Santana and Ortiz. This is going to be a fun match. A lot of anarchy, as the title says. There'll be blood. There'll be guts. There'll be warfare. Maybe some war games.
Stadium Stampede.
Exactly. That's exactly what this is. It's Stadium Stampede, but in an arena. So all the stuff that Moxley's saying about he doesn't want to do it, and that's stuff in the past. You're literally doing it under a different umbrella. It's the same thing. And this whole hypocrisy of this whole storyline of, oh, we're pro wrestlers, not sport entertainers. Yet this whole storyline has been sports entertainment.
One guy throws fireballs out of his hands, refers to himself as a wizard. So we know which side is sports entertainment. I never thought I'd see the day where I'd have a match with Jericho, Moxley, Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson involved in it, where I was going to be like, not invested in it that much. But maybe that means because my standards are so low for this match, I will be pleasantly surprised. Other than the guys I mentioned, and you would hope Proud and Powerful, does anybody care? Does anybody care about Jake Hager? Does anybody care about the other two guys? I still don't know their names. I still don't have the gall, the inclination to go out of my way to find their names. The squarehead and the guy that looks like Vincent Van Gogh. Whatever their names are. One guy looks like an artist. The other one looks like he could be cast in The Sopranos. So,
I guess, but anyway, to actually predict the match itself, I do think this is a match for Blackpool Combat Club, Kingston, Powered and Powerful to win. I hope Santana or Ortiz pin Jericho and just put this feud to rest. Let them be the forefront of a feud for once. That's what I really want to see. Moxley doesn't need the pin. Danielson doesn't need the pin. Kingston doesn't need the pin. Santana and Ortiz need to win this match. And for anybody that have defended AEW booking these guys saying, oh, well, they're in big feuds. They're in big feuds by proxy. Yeah. They need to be in their own feud. And it's time this happens by pinning Chris Jericho. I do want to thank our sponsors for this AEW Dynamite review, and that is Manscaped. They have the Performance Package 4.0 with all the tools you need for men's grooming. It's got the Lawnmower 4.0 with the ceramic blade, with that advanced skin-safe technology. It's waterproof too, so you could do it. You could do your shaving in the shower. That 400K LED spotlight for that precise shave as well. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof, and that proprietary skin-safe technology as well to prevent nicks, snags, and tugs on the ears and nose, and that is a great ear trimmer. Plus, you got the Crop Preserver and Crop Reviver Toner that will change the way you approach your hygiene routine. The Performance Package 4.0 has got other goodies as well, and you can get this for 20% off and free shipping with the promo code SCPB20 at manscaped.com. Again, that is 20% off and free shipping with the promo code SCPB20. Unlock your confidence with the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Again, 20% off, free shipping, promo code SCPB20. We have the finals of the Owen Hart tournament. We'll start with the women's. Britt Baker versus the winner of Ruby Soho and Chris Statlander. We are recording this before Rampage goes live. I think Ruby Soho wins that match. And I have Britt Baker winning the finals and winning the tournament.
Conventional wisdom would say Britt Baker's probably going to win this whole thing. But then what? Another match with Thunder Rosa? No thanks. I'm going to go with Ruby Soho winning it. I don't think Britt Baker needs to win these high-profile matches like this. She's already made it. She's already over. We've already seen her in Thunder Rosa, and I got to imagine Thunder Rosa is going to be champion still. So I am going to go with Ruby Soho.
Well, the reason why I'm going with Britt Baker, because you say, what next? Britt Baker's boyfriend, fiance, I don't know what their status is as far as relationship, but significant other, we'll say, Adam Cole is in the finals of the men's going up against Samoa Joe. And I think Adam Cole wins this, and with some heat, as we see with Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti, these two will actually do it right, and people will actually want to see them to hate them, unlike Sammy and Ty, where they just don't want them on TV. They're going to do this power couple heel thing right, and what better way to start that power couple heel thing than by having them win the Owen Hart tournament? And what better way to get heat than have a gone guy win the Owen Hart tournament?
So you have Adam Cole, I'd imagine, beating Samoa Joe.
Yes, with the help of Jay Lethal and his two cronies there.
Yeah. So yeah, that's another one. I'm going with Samoa Joe.
I mean, I can't say it's not possible because he is the Ring of Honor World TV champion and not a terrible pick, but I think just with the outside interference and the power couple thing that I think could happen, I'm going with Adam Cole. Next up, we have the TBS Championship. Jade Cargill will go up against Anna Jay in a feud that just started last week on Rampage. I see the streak continuing. I really don't see this match going more than 8 minutes. If it does, I'll be shocked as all hell. And Jade wins.
I hate when WWE builds matches like this without any actual build or legitimate reason to care. And I'm not going to like that AEW did. I'm going to go Jade Cargill for sure.
Now, on the other women's championship match, there's been some build to it. They have at least attempted, but I think the execution at times has not been great. Thunder Rosa versus Serena Deeb for the AEW Women's Championship. Someone has pointed this out that since Thunder Rosa has won the AEW Women's Championship, I believe she's only been on TV, not Dark or Elevation, actual TV, a total of 15 minutes since she won the AEW Women's Championship.
What did you think of her promo last night?
On Dynamite, I thought it was a pretty decent promo. I think the execution of the whole, music playing after you thought she was done was bad, but that's not on her. Well, kind of is because she kind of made it seem like it was over, but the music people got to do a little better job recognizing cues, but it just didn't advance anything that I'm like, oh my God, this match is going to be great. I can't wait to see it. It didn't elevate me as much, but it was still a good promo nonetheless.
Wish I cared more about this match. I think it's going to be a good match. I'm actually kind of leading with Serena Deeb a little bit on this because again, I don't think if Britt Baker wins and we get Thunder Rosa again, I don't see the point in that. So I think maybe they freshen it up. They go Serena Deeb, Ruby Soho, and maybe that's like the new feud that they try to build.
Maybe, but yeah, I mean, you don't necessarily have to have the Owen Hart winner chase for the world title instantly either. It could just be like the King of the Ring in WWE where you're just the King of the Ring. You don't necessarily go for the world championship just because you're the King of the Ring kind of thing. It's just more of a title to have. Next up, we have the AEW Tag Team Championship. Jurassic Express versus Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland versus Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. I think this actually goes to Starks and Hobbs. I think Starks and Hobbs would really help bring the tag team titles back to, relevancy because no knock to Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, but they're another one where they won the tag titles and they really haven't done much. Now, don't get me wrong, that triple threat match that they had at Revolution where they beat the Bucks and Red Dragon, that was good, but there hasn't been enough of those kind of defenses and storylines that this has been a good reign. Now, they could just defeat all odds yet again and win another triple threat match. No one expects them to win. But I think this might be the catalyst where that starts the Christian and Jungle Boy feud, because when Jurassic Express loses, Christian gets pissed or Jungle Boy gets pissed and one turns on the other. And I think Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs wins by pinning Jungle Boy.
I'm going to go with Keith Lee and Swerve here, mostly because they made a big investment on Keith Lee. We've talked about how he was brought in as this major star, and I think this is going to be his first opportunity to actually deliver on that. And he's got good personality. So does Swerve. They were both those guys were kind of brought in more prominently, and I think that this will be their chance to do something with those guys. Kind of crazy that if Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus lose the titles, it's going to be to one of two teams that isn't necessarily like your traditional tag team for a company that is supposed to be built around and dedicated to tag teams. Not that that's a bad thing, but just kind of goes to show you the lengths they have to go to try and get everybody they have on contract in a good position.
I usually don't have non-title matches this far into a prediction show, but this feud really, if there was a title involved, would probably be the main event. That's how good this feud has been. It's really been the best feud between Revolution and Double or Nothing, and it's MJF versus Wardlow. I said, a couple weeks ago that the way they should have Wardlow enter the ring with the whole handcuffs breaking out with War Pigs, obviously he already broke the handcuffs, so you can't do that. That would have given him, a bulletproof vest if he were to lose. Now he has to win this match because there's really nothing there that could keep him over unless he wins. So I say Wardlow wins and it continues his push and put the rocket on his ass because he is the most over star in AEW right now. And people just want to see him powerbomb the living shit out of MJF. So let him do it like 20 times. Let the fans count how many times it happens. Keep going and going and going.
Yeah, he needs to win this match. They don't even need to run the risk of having him lose and, oh, let's extend this out and build it back. Like, don't even do it. Don't even risk it. It's not worth it. Now, the one thing you do risk, depending on how much you actually believe, is MJF losing to Wardlow. Does he actually take that to heart and say, okay, I'm actually going to consider leaving for WWE? Those are rumors. I don't know how true any of them are. He's the only one that really knows that. But creative and cash are quite powerful things in wrestling, as they say.
The only thing I'll say to this about MJF might be considering WWE or whatever because he's not booked or whatever. Wrestling's at its best when you have the top babyface and the top heel always in a constant storyline that can always be revisited. And AEW has the potential to have that right now with MJF and Wardlow, where Wardlow could be your top babyface and MJF could be your top heel. If they continue this, MJF has no problem creatively to leave AEW for WWE. And I think even if he loses to Wardlow, there's still a lot of potential for him in AEW where I wouldn't even think about it just yet. We head to the main event for the AEW World Championship. Hangman Adam Page, CM Punk. We recently did a poll on our community page, Ralph, and I believe it was 70-30. CM Punk should win this match over Hangman Page.
Wow.
I was actually a little surprised at that, but I've been saying it for a while, and I'm going to double down at Double or Nothing. The Summer of Punk is starting in Las Vegas, Nevada, yet again. CM Punk wins and becomes the AEW World Champion.
I'll say this. You're absolutely right. Wrestling's at its best when you have like a super over face in the heel who is just next level good. Punk is at his best when he's a heel. He always has been. He probably always will be. I think that he is playing mind games with Hangman Page just based on everything that was said last night on Dynamite. The fact that they brought up, okay, I'm protecting AEW from you. Punk as a heel cutting promos on the fans in AEW. That's going to generate massive heat. And I don't know what face could be built up to take the title off him. Maybe that's Wardlow somewhere down the line. Originally, I was thinking Hangman Page should probably win this, but I think that CM Punk is going to take the title and turn heel.
So you think it's going to be a turn for CM Punk as well?
Well, maybe not a Double or Nothing, but yes, eventually Punk. That's when Punk's at his best. When he's cutting pipe bombs on fans and other wrestlers and doing things and saying things like MJF would say.
You maybe you're onto something, which could be one of the reasons why CM Punk should win against Hangman Page at Double or Nothing. But we talked about this in full length. You could click the thumbnail on the screen right now to check out that conversation, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Squared Circle Psychobabble.